For today's cup of coffee, we got extra spoopy to go with the subject matter at hand. And we're going to be talking about the entity in my mother's home. Yesterday I had discussed about the shadow person, thing, entity, whatever it was that I saw. I only saw that once. It was enough. But the other entity that is in her home, and it's still there, that has manifested in various and sundry ways over the years. And from the time that I was little, I kept saying, somebody died in this house. And my mother, being typical mother, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Nobody died in this house. Nobody died in this house. And I'm like, yes, they did. And we were discussing how when you present paranormal things to others, a lot of times, denial, which ends up as a form of gaslighting to those of us that experienced whatever. Okay, when I was in my 30s, maybe, my mother finally acknowledged, yes, you were right, somebody actually did die in the house. The house was remodeled, but, the essence of somebody can get into the wood, the brick, the land, all these different things. People don't think about that. There's a lot of different theories as far as what ghosts are, whether it's almost like pressing repeat on VCR or a DVD or what have you, that is something that happens. It can be the imagery of a tragic event that sort of gets burned into time. So there's a lot of different theories about that. It's not a point of me making theories. I'm not going to present anything in APA evidence with all these different things. And look it up for yourself, folks. I will be 56 in July. This is a lifetime of experiences with this stuff. And I've done lots of research over those years, and I'm not required to present validation for my own personal experiences. Anyhow, this thing used to torment me as a child, as far as manifestations. There was one time when I was about 8 and reached over to turn the light on the nightstand next to my bed, and there was this white figure. It appeared to be solid at the top, or more solid, and sort of tapered off down towards the end. And it was like I jerked my hand back in under the cover, covered myself up, didn't want to breathe or move for hours. And it's interesting, kid brain. Why do we think that hiding under covers is going to keep us safe? There would be other times that I would have, it would appear as almost like a hand coming around the door facings. My parents thought that I was very bizarre because it was maybe, I don't know if it was 15 foot from my bed to the bathroom, and in that span I would turn on the side light, the main room light, the hall light, the bathroom light, because I was terrified. And when you're going through those experiences and you have parents that don't believe you because they don't want to deal with it, then that makes for a very lonely experience as a child. And actually, my father had an experience with this entity himself, so it looks like that he would have had a little bit of empathy, but no. And what he had said, again, he working night shift because Appalachia folks, you worked night shift and especially graveyard and different things like that. Yes, graveyard. Don't let that pun pass you by. And that he had been asleep and he felt, somebody crawl in bed beside him and stuff like that. And of course he thought it was Mom, and there was no one. So this ghost actually crawled in the bed with him, and maybe he just didn't want to deal with it. Because in his religious upbringing, anything like that was evil. Now, we're talking Pentecostal holiness folks. Now you're going to have, with these talks and stuff like that, it is going to be smattered with different religious teachings than maybe you all have experienced. And there's a large gap as far as the church edifying people about the supernatural and the paranormal. Not everything is of the devil. You know, there are white hats in heaven that are the good guys. And then not everything that you deal with is a demon. Now, Scripture tells us that there are unclean spirits and different things like that. So, do I have a little bit of, what's the word? I don't want to say animosity, really. But because of the ignorance of these people, it made my life much harder. And so when somebody comes with a supernatural experience and they're like, oh, this happened to me, I am not the type that jumps up and automatically thinks, oh, you're invoking the devil. No. And this is the reason that a lot of people don't even want to discuss these things, because it's hard enough to own up to the fact that you did have the experience and then have to deal with the ridicule and scorn of others. No. And that's the reason I wanted us to have this means to share these things, because it is spooky. And so I lived like that with whatever that thing is and the terrifying parts of it till it morphed into something else as I became a teenager. And yes, my father was afraid of me because I knew things and saw things that other people didn't. And sometimes if you've got things you don't want others to see, yeah, that makes you look funny at somebody that can see. And but those stories are for another day. So still waiting for people to add their personal encounters. And again, that is cupofcoffeewithscream at gmail.com. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy the daylight while it's there. And you all have a beautiful, blessed day.